Hi Scorpio, welcome to your year ahead 2020 tarot scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, if you've been with me through 2019, 2018, and for those of you hardcore ride or dies that have been with me from the beginning, thank you so much for all of your support. It truly, genuinely does mean the absolute world to me. I'm so grateful and so humble for all of the support that you have given me over the years. It really does mean a lot. With that said, if you would like to book a personal reading, if you would like to get a personal year ahead forecast, you can do so on the website address below. If you would like to get a FLP session, future life progression, or a past life regression session, you can do so on the website address below. And there's lots of amazing stuff coming this year, so stay tuned. With that said, I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So it's not just a new year, it's a new decade, right? So let's have a look, see what this has in store for you. So you get one destiny card, one direction card for each one of the months ahead. And your first card out is the Hermit card, right? So this is actually, so the first card out actually sets the tone for the year. It's got that kind of permeating energy to it. And the Hermit card is all about, some people are gonna like a collective sigh. The Hermit card is about where you withdraw from the world, but there is always a purpose behind it. There is a reason. This is about you working on something behind the scenes, maybe something that you want to create, maybe something that you want to put out there into the world at large. Now, because it is the first card out and it sets the tone, it does suggest that over the course of 2020, there will be something big that you are working on behind the scenes. For some of you, it could be your manifesto. For some of you, that word is what came up. For some of you, it could be an autobiography. For some of you, it could finally be that book. For a lot of you, I feel like this is going to be a project that has a physical slant. So for a lot of you, this could be about finally buying a home. For a select few of you, this is going to be about building a home. But here in January, this is where you take the time to start really thinking about ways that you can make this happen for you in the year of 2020. The other thing about the Hermit card, because it represents the sign of Virgo, it can talk about your digestive system, and it can also talk about your health. It can also talk about your physical health. So there's a big part of you that might be focused on that in January. And not just because of New Year's resolutions and stuff. And it's funny because I talked about this in one of the other signs videos, and I still believe this to be true. Okay, fair enough. Not a lot of people do stick with New Year's resolutions and stuff. And it's not for the sake of I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you want to make a resolution, make one. There's nothing wrong with that. Just because it's not trendy anymore, or I don't make them anymore because usually everybody's broken them by the time we get to February. Well, so what? Who cares what everybody else is doing? If you make an intention for your year ahead, do it, and do everything that you can about making that happen for yourself. Finally, for a select few, well, I say select few of you, for all of you actually, in some way, shape or form, the Hermit card always takes you on a quest. For some people it can be a pilgrimage, for some people it can be a vision quest, for some people it could be an actual quest where you're going. This is a journey of an exploratory nature, and it usually sees you utilizing all of your internal skills, your intuition, your gut instinct, all of that sort of stuff to find whatever it is that you're searching for. But you start the year hungry for knowledge. You start the year hungry for learning more about yourself, more about your world, and more about practical ways to make your life better. So let's give it some context with a direction card. Ooh, okay, so you've had one jump out, as you saw there, and it is the Two of Wands. This is about making more money. It's about choosing your future. So here in the Hermit card, you're literally on a quest. You're on a journey of some sort. The Two of Wands is always about your past and your future. It sees you looking out into the world and asking yourself, how do I make more money? How do I find a group of people? How do I move in circles that are going to support the goals, the dreams, the wishes, the hopes, the aspirations that I have now. This is about building strong connections with people and places of affluence and affluent situations. This is about welcoming those things into your life. It's about the physical, practical steps that we take. It's about the action steps that we take to welcoming more abundance into our lives. And you guys are starting the year strong, because it's more like although yes, you're being proactive about it and trying to forge the right connections, here in January, you're also asking yourself on an internal level, what can I do? How is it that I can delve into who I am so that I can understand myself more, and therefore I can present myself, and it's not about being disingenuous, but how can I present myself in the best light so that I can attract the kind of wealth, situations and people and connections that are going to help me reach that next stage of my life. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. What's really interesting as well is just as I finished talking about that, it was 5:55 on the clock. So interesting times. All right, so your February, you've got the Emperor card, right? So this is where you're putting it all into practice. January is about planning for you. It's about assessing. It's about feeling things out. It's about really asking yourself, January is about asking yourself, what is it that I'm going to need to build the things that I want? February sees you putting that action plan together. It sees you making the steps. It sees you actually committing to a specific path. It sees you possibly, for some of you, this could be about aligning with a new job, a new professional or academic, situation, welcoming itself into your life. It does look like you are working on, with, or in some kind of institution. So what do I mean? It could be a school, a university, a hospital, a college, what else? A legal house. The Emperor always represents those kind of things. And as a destiny energy for the month of February, it says that you're committing yourself to making these changes. It says that you're committing yourself to actually making these things a reality. This is where February is where you start to enact all of the plans that you've been making, which is absolutely fantastic. I love it. So let's have a look at your direction. Let's give it some context. What may this relate to? For you, it is the Seven of Wands, right? So now this is the interesting thing. For some of you, this may very well be that you're having not a difficult time at work, but you might have to defend some of your ideas. And the feeling I get from this is some of the drive, some of the motivations, or the steps or the plans that you're wanting to make, they might be they might ruffle a few feathers, and you just put it that way. And likely the feathers that you're going to ruffle will be the ones that are at the top, the ones that are in positions of power, positions of authority. And for that reason, because the Seven of Wands is defending yourself, right? It's about standing your ground and knowing that you are in the right, knowing that you have the high ground, so to speak. The fact that you've got this with the Emperor means that in your work, in your professional life or your academic life, there may be something about your viewpoint. It might be about the plans that you have that you're trying to put forward or push through. They may come up against resistance. They may come up against some sort of a challenge. And the Seven of Wands basically says, stand your ground. You're in the right. You will have the support that you need. You've already started to build the connections, and you're stronger and surer in yourself than you have been for a long time, right? On a more positive note, or dualism, on a more beneficial note, these two cards really do suggest that you could be pushing and driving towards becoming an authority, so that you have the position, so that you have the power to make some of these big decisions. For a select few of you, this could be you rising through the ranks into a position of authority, into a position of power. Because you've got the Seven of Wands there, though, it suggests that not only do you have the energy to do it, but when you get into this position, you might come under fire from some of the people that coveted that position that you won against, that you beat out. So So keep that in mind. Your March 2020, you have the Universe card, the World card. This is about mastery. It's about completion, right? This is where you step up. This is where the next level is in sight. So it might be for some of you that what you're implementing in February has that result, and it sees you getting that recognition. And this really does feel for me like it is recognition. This is about you being noticed for something that you do, for what your worth is, for what your value is. This is about people noticing and saying, wow, you know what, I'm going to be honest, and you might hear these words. You might hear somebody say to you, I was a bit skeptical about whether you'd be able to pull it off, but you've absolutely pulled it out of the bag, right? Don't worry about that. My advice to you for the first quarter of the year, under promise and over deliver, right? As long as you do that, you will be heading towards this. I mean, the Universe card, I love it. It's beautiful because it suggests that whatever you're building here in the first quarter of the year, whatever you're implementing or stepping into, has long standing, long reaching results for you. Let's give it some context and see what it might be about. And it is the King of Cups, right? And this comes up as you in your energy. I mean, I love the King of Cups. And actually, as a sign, the King of Cups represents the sign of Scorpio, right? Which is awesome. So it suggests that something about you, whether you're male or female watching this, something about your energy comes through loud, it comes through clear. And ultimately, I think this is going to be about you not only reaching a position of power of authority, I think this is actually going to be you feeling a lot more settled and also a lot more accomplished. March is going to be a moment where it's going to be a landmark moment for you. March is going to be a month where you kind of sit back and go, wow, you know what, I made it. It's one of those moments that you kind of look back on you kind of experience it, and then you look back at your path and say, wow, there were moments where I wasn't really sure that I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to pull it off. But this sees you enjoying it. It sees you having those moments. This is a beautiful energy for you. The other thing with the King of Cups as well, you will notice, no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, you will notice that you have reached a new level of emotional maturity and security. March is going to be a peak experience for understanding how far you've come, and more importantly, how well established you are in this moment in time. So let's have a look at your April. What's going on as we step into the second quarter of the year? And this one, you get the Moon card, right? So the Moon card, this will see you quite reflective. It may see, now this is interesting because in relation to your March, it might be that you have some either somebody from the past, or maybe you're glancing over the past. It looks, and the feeling that I get from it is, it looks like you're having some sort of a doubt. It's almost like you're saying to yourself, oh yeah, I might have reached all of this, but at any moment it could go away. I will caution against that kind of energy. Obviously, it's good to check in with yourself and make sure you're not getting too far ahead of yourself. And like as an example, if you won £1 million, yes, you're richer than you were before, a lot richer than you were before in some cases. But if you start spending 10 grand here, 10 grand there, very quickly you're going to see that diminish by a lot, right? So it's about learning to work with this new energy that you have. It's about learning to assimilate what position you've reached now and how you get there. Hello, kitty. There's a little cat outside my window. It's very beautiful. And interesting as well, because cats, very, very psychic, very intuitive beings. And the Moon card sometimes is our psyche giving us a message that we are fearful about something that isn't really founded, right? So April's going to be a month for you to check in with yourself, because you'll be feeling this emotional maturity and security here in March. You'll be literally sitting pretty in many ways, and then here in April, it's like something makes you sort of doubt whether you're going to continue to to be able to do what it is that you're doing. Oh shit. Okay, and then look at that, what's jumped out, the second Moon card. So you got the Moon and the Moon here in April. This is a very powerful psychic time for you. I talked about the cat. Makes sense now. I love the way this stuff works. I really do. You know, this is about your dreams. Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to your gut instincts. Pay attention to your feelings around people, around situations, around places. But remember, the moon card does represent the past, and it does sometimes have that. Sometimes it can distort things. You know, when we see something through darkness, you know, like when you see a shadow, your mind can play tricks and energy shift. Your mind can play tricks on you, and it can, you know, convince you that something is there when it isn't. April's going to be a month for you to really pay attention to that kind of thing, so that you don't, you know, it might be that you come up against some sort of self-sabotaging behavior, and April's going to be a time where you can either correct it or really fall slave to it. So be alert, be vigilant, you know, in and of yourself. May, you have the Temperance card, right? So this is great. This is where you find balance. This, you know, this is, I think this really feels for me like more alignment. May is going to be a month where you really are stepping into that energy of understanding, right, okay, you know what? Yes, I'm, you know, even with all of these peaks that I'm reaching, even with all of these new ideas and projects that I'm creating, even with all of these new, you know, affluent people and situations that I find myself in, I still need to remember my roots. And you know, that's the beauty of it as well with the Temperance card, is it kind of sees you having that spiritual, emotional, but also practical grounding, right? Because this is about where it is about where you find balance, but the Temperance card represents the process of spiritual alchemy. So it's where you kind of take all of this stuff, whatever is dredged up here in April from the subconscious, from the depths of the psyche. In May, you're able to really transmute that energy and say, right, okay, you know what? I understand this now. I understand how it may have held me back, how it may have held me down. And what you're doing with it is, you know, coming through the guise of beauty. That's what I love about the Temperance card. It always reminds you to, well, not reminds you, it reveals the meaning behind specific events to you. And that's really, really powerful stuff. So let's give it some context. All right, you've had two cards jump out, and you've got the Nine of Cups and the Hierophant. So beautiful. So May looks like a really spiritual time for a lot of you. May looks like a time where you could possibly be doing some form of spiritual healing. It looks like you might be taking a retreat. It could be, for some of you, this might be your ayahuasca journey. You know, why do I say that? The Nine of Cups represents healing. The Hierophant represents traditional methods, you know, traditional things, like things that have lasted the test of time. And because this falls on the Temperance card, this could be where you really are going on a vision quest, going on a spiritual journey, going on a retreat, going on a pilgrimage, you know, more so than January, even more so than January with these cards, because you're doing something that is tried and tested, something that is tried and true, something that has stood the test of time, and you're embarking on that journey. Now, for all of you as well, in some way, shape or form, this is a financial or material goal coming to fruition. Why do I say that? Spiritual alchemy, turning base metals into gold. Then you've got the Nine of Cups, emotional fulfillment, but also a wish fulfilled, something that you've wanted or needed for a long time. The Hierophant, money, financial institutions, the material, practical world. So something, you know, it could be a windfall, it could, you know, anything of that nature, but it does look like you're gaining a big boost in finances there in May. Use it wisely. All right, so June, the height of the year, you've got the Empress. This is beautiful because it spells abundance, right? It does say that whatever happens for you in May carries over into June, right? So as we get to the middle point of the year, you are feeling blessed, you're feeling abundant, you know, finances will be brilliant, but material life will be brilliant. You will be enjoying all of the pleasures of life. You'll be reveling in life. You know, you start the summer on an absolute high. You know, this is brilliant. I love it. I absolutely love it. So let's give it some context. Let's see what it shapes up as. All right, you've got the Judgment card. So this is great. For a select few of you, this could be you reconnecting with an old friend. For some of you, it might be an old partner. You know, and I'll be honest with you as well. I mean, this could just be a frivolous time for sex and enjoyment. Why do I say that? Because the Judgment card is Pluto. It brings things up from the past, you know, to be looked at. Venus, or the Empress, is all about pleasure. She's all about the sensual, earthly experience. This could just be you having a really good time with an old love buddy. I won't use the other word. It could be that you are just feeling yourself and feeling life more vibrantly. I mean, what a way to kick off the summer. It also suggests as well, for a select few of you, maybe an investment that you made at one point that you'd maybe kind of even forgot about could end up really paying some sort of dividend out, and it sees you kind of like, wow, you know what, I'd almost forgotten about that, and then bam, it shows up for you. Beautiful. So in July, you get the Hanged Man, right? So it's interesting because a lot of people are having an intense July. There were very few signs throughout the filming of these videos where I thought, okay, you know, July is going to be relatively easy. Yeah. July sees you laying low, all right? It sees you kind of chilling out. And it doesn't have to be, you know, that it's because anything negative has happened. Sorry, I've got a bloody itchy nose. It doesn't mean that anything challenging or negative has happened. Sorry, forgive the dualism. It can just mean that you really are taking time. You're taking a break. You're taking a breather. You know, you're stepping back to enjoy the roses, stepping back to smell the roses. And the reason I say that is because June will be a great month, but it does look like it's going to be quite busy. It's going to be quite packed. Whereas July is probably going to be, it's going to be a lot slower. July is going to be a lot more pensive. You know, you're going to be, yeah, just, you know, a lot more pensive. And the reason being is because there may be some stuff that you need to deal with. I mean, you've got the Five of Swords here, which is petty squabbles, petty arguments. Whatever you're doing in June, just make sure that whatever you are doing isn't stepping on somebody else's toes. Whatever that means to you, it will make sense at the time. But here in July, take it easy. And with the Hanged Man and the Five of Swords, this is basically saying to you, when you see the squabbles taking place, when you see the arguments and all the rest of it shaping up, step out, right? It's stuff that's happening around you, but not necessarily to you. If you get involved, it will lead to the Five of Swords, which is you kind of losing it and then thinking, oh, you know what? Look how they've made me behave. Don't do that. Just don't get into it. August, you've got the Devil card, right? So the start of summer was good. The next 2 months of summer look like they might be a bit of a challenge, little bit of a challenge. The Devil card is going to have you looking at what it is that you're addicted to, right? It's going to see you really paying attention to what it is that you hold on to too deeply, what it is that you allow to sway you too much. And it might be in response to this. So now that you're watching this video and you're forewarned, you can kind of adjust course when this comes up, because in August you might say to yourself, you know what, I thought I was actually done with feeling like that or behaving in that way, and look, somebody else has not made you, because nobody can make you do anything, but they've provided the push for you to, you know, to regress to something, right? To give it some context, you've got the Sun card. Now, isn't that interesting? So your August month looks like it's going to be great because it's shedding a lot of light on where you can free yourself. It's allowing you to see where it is that you can get past things. Also, August may bring you a blessing, but it might come with strings, right? The Sun card is ultimate blessings. It lightens all of the cards that it touches. So your July probably won't be that bad. And like I said, you know, because you've seen this, it looks like you're able to course correct, which is beautiful. The thing that I will say to you though is whatever blessing or, you know, boon or whatever it is that somebody's giving you in August, it does look like it will come with some strings, and you're going to have to ask yourself, okay, you know what? Is it enough for me to want to be tied to this thing? Because it's the devil card, right? So it's going to have you for a while. So you need to ask yourself if you really are willing to partake or be a part of this thing for so long. All right, but either way, like I said, I mean, it is the Sun card, so it is a blessing of some sort, right? It is something that you're going to be like, oh wow, that's really cool, but it will come with strings attached. So don't kind of think to yourself, oh yay, look, you know, this has come and that's it. It will have some strings. You got the Wheel of Fortune for September. Beautiful. I love the Wheel of Fortune because this is where you see the luck pay off, right? This is where you get, it's the synchronicities that shape up in response to the efforts that you've already sown. It is where you kind of see the rewards for the efforts that you've put in. The Wheel of Fortune always represents some sort of harmonious, lucky, synchronistic moment that shows up for you, and it's usually out of the blue. It's one that you kind of just shows up and has you be like, oh wow, okay, wow, look at that. So to give it some context, this could be about a personal business. It could be about, sorry, my bloody nose, and it's right at the tip. It's just itching. Hello, guides, as some people say. Your Page of Pentacles is about something that you do. So September is a really good time for you to launch that side hustle. It's a really good time for you to launch your personal business. And just as I said that, 2 magpies flew over. All right, so awesome. September is a really good time for personal business launch. It's a great time for you to launch a blog or a website, something that you dedicate your time to, but in a small way that you're hoping to build or make bigger. It could be for a select few of you that you have a side hustle or a side business already, and it just takes off. It absolutely, you know, blows. Or maybe you have a September bigger than any September you've ever had before. This is a really great month for all things of that nature. So let's have a look at your October. You've got the Tower card, right? So October brings you a big realization or a big understanding of some sort. October will be a month that is kind of shocking, and it's also going to be a very fast month. You might think to yourself, like, bloody hell, what was I doing over October? Like, where did October go? For those of you that are celebrating at the end of October, a big happy birthday to you. One of the things that you all need to know about your solar return, fill that specific day with at least an hour of everything that you want your entire year to have in it. So party, see friends, see family, write, draw, paint, dance, skip, you know, whatever it is that you want your year to hold, to house, do a little bit of that throughout the whole day. Then you've got the World card on the Tower, right? So it looks like something intense is taking place in October. This could be on the wider world stage. Because it does come with the Tower card, it could be something that's quite shocking for all of us. It could be a big world event that takes place. Now, on a personal level, you know, to bring it down to everyday and for you guys specifically, this really does suggest that something about you leveling up is now going to change. You might be seeing where you've been caught in some kind of illusion about how you see yourself or how others see you. You could be very surprised at how people view you or what your reputation actually is. You know, they say your reputation precedes you. Here in October, you could be finding out, you know, that maybe people see you as a ball buster and you actually didn't know that. Do you know what I mean? It's something that people say when you're not really around. You could be realizing that here in October, and it will see you kind of looking at it. It will be shocking to you. It doesn't look like it's necessarily heavy. It just looks like it will be a surprise to you. You might be like, oh, okay, well, wow, I didn't realize that people saw me that way. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's good for us to understand how people view us and to get a glimpse of that. November, you have the Star card. Happy birthday to you. We are in Scorpio season and it is kind to you. Scorpio season is going to be hopeful. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really, really optimistic for you. It will see you really reaching out to bigger communities. It will see you maybe building a community or wanting to join a community. It could very well see you making some of your wishes a practical, tangible reality, which is beautiful. Let's have a look. Let's give it some context. You've got the Ten of Wands, right? So this is great. If you've had any family issues, if you have any family issues over the month of November or throughout 2020 at all, November is where you will see this stuff wrap up. And it feels like for me, whatever's happening in July and August may have a family slant about it. It might be that there's some family drama. It might be that there's an issue with, who's left what to who. It could be anything of that sort of nature. And it looks like in November, you're free of that. It's almost like you're unburdened in some way, shape or form. The other thing is, for those of you that have businesses, now, I mean, everybody's online nowadays, but you could find that your business is streamlined by utilizing the internet or electronic or technical means in some way, shape or form. It means that whatever it is that you do, maybe whatever it is that your business is, you might over the course of these 3 months say, right, you know what, I need to streamline that. And then in November, you're digitalizing something, so to speak. And then finally in December, you have the Magician card. You finish the year really strong. I mean, I love this because you start the year with the Hermit, right? So you're deep in thought. You're intensely looking at things, examining, cross-examining, researching, doing all of that. You're gathering that speed, that energy and stuff behind you and underneath you. And then here in December, you evolve and become the Magician. This is where you elevate in some way, shape or form. And take a big step upward, right? This is where you come into the limelight, so to speak, which is brilliant. And then to give it some context, you get the Page of Swords, right? So yeah, I mean, this is really interesting. Again, it looks like 2020 may bring you, for some of you, might bring you at least 1 or 2 job changes. For some of you it might be several. December will see you finishing the year strong. It will see you kind of possibly looking further afield. It will see you really looking to expand whatever you do for work, whatever you do for business. And with the Page of Swords here as well, you could be going through the interview process, but it looks like you are interviewing somebody. It looks like you're vetting people. You're vetting people to either work for you or to work with you or to collaborate with you. But December's a really powerful month, and it will be a month where you get to kind of sit back and say, wow, you know what? Let me take stock here of everything that I've been able to do over this year. I mean, you really will do that, because Scorpio has that kind of self-reflective nature, which is brilliant. Not every sign does. Your key to the year is the Hierophant. Money and materials are going to be great this year. You are becoming an authority. It really does look like you have the blessings of material life over the course of this year, which is absolutely fantastic for you. I really, really love this, because for me, it does kind of say that, you know what, through patience, hard work and diligence, through doing, things the right way, through sticking it out and, demonstrating that grit, you absolutely see all of your goals, all of the things that you wanted and worked towards shape up for you in 2020. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic year ahead. Check in month by month, quarter by quarter, every 3 months. Some people watch it at the end of the year to see how it tallies up. It's completely up to you, but please drop a comment and let me know how it shapes up for you. What are you excited for? What do you love? What do you loathe? Take care, and I will see you very soon. And again, thank you so much for all of your support.